All right, guys, sorry about the wait, but I am back with part 2 of my ray clutch tutorial. You guys ready to get it finished up? All right, let's go.
The card slot piece and measure down 1 inch and draw a line and then put a piece of double-sided tape right above it. And then bend the top down to that line. And head over to your machine and top stitch at 1/8 of an inch. Today I'm using waterproof canvas, so I'm not going to be interfacing my lining, but go ahead and do it if you need to do so. Go ahead and find the center mark. All right, so we're gonna grab that piece that we just did, and we are going to take our lining, the right side, and go ahead and mark down where it says in the pattern, and place that piece we just did on the center. And then we're going to go over to our machine and we're going to stitch on the side, the bottom, and back up to the side. Then we're going to go and stitch straight down the middle. And I'm going to be using my disappearing ink marker. This is by Air and Water to mark that midpoint. All right, this is vinyl, so I can't pin it. So I'm gonna just put a little piece of double-sided tape along the bottom so that it doesn't move around on me. And we're gonna be sewing that at 1/8. And there we go. If you wanna grab a card to test it out. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and add a second credit card slot. I've done the same thing as before, and now I'm going to place it 1/2 of an inch below the first one. All right, and now I'm just gonna go and sew down the side, the bottom, back up the side, and then once again in the middle. All right, so let's work on our flap. Go ahead and grab your pattern piece and use that to mark the placement for your snap. And so this is my flap lining, and it is facing right side up. And I'm gonna be inserting the male piece. That's the piece that sticks out a little bit. And I am gonna be putting a little piece of stabilizer on the back. Now we're gonna place our flaps right sides facing each other. And get those sewn together. We're gonna go sew down the sides, the bottom, and the other side at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Leave the top open for now. Okay, and I want to mention that I did use small stitches for that because once again, when we were dealing with these lines being connected, we don't want that thread to unravel. So I stitched that with a small stitch length. Now we're going to trim it down to about 1/8 of an inch. If you plan on using a tip on your flap later, you know, one of these, then definitely trim this down to 1/8 of an inch. And if you're feeling like you can do it, trim it down a little bit closer than 1/8 on that in this area because it gets really tight. I'm not sure if I'm going to use one yet or not. We'll see. Okay, now let's gently turn this out. Be gentle with her. What's on my hand? All right, let's turn her out. If you need to use a tool, try to use your fingers first because we want to be gentle. And roll your seams as best as you can. If you feel like you need a tool for the corners, then get a tool. Do what you got to do. Okay, so roll your seams out. If you have a rolly thingy, use that. I got this from Amazon. Especially on those areas where we have fabrics joining, it's going to be a little bit thicker, so you do want to try to get that thin out just a little bit. Just do the best that you can. That's all we can do, right? Be careful. You don't want to rip your vinyl. Or your leather. You know, I've had leather rip on me, so just be careful. Alright, and once you get it where you like it, we're going to pin it. Try your best to make it so that your lining isn't showing from the top. I kind of like it showing because it pulls out that orange, but no, we don't want that to happen. So roll your seams so that none of your lining is showing and clamp it. I'm going to start from the point. Now I'm going to go and top stitch around the side, bottom, and the other side.
Do not sew along the top.
All right, we've got our flap almost done. Grab your flap stabilizer and insert that in. And just shove it down until it can't go anymore. All right, if you want to add a label, this is the time to do it, because we're about to close that up. So I am going to find the center of my bag. Be careful because we do have that snap right there. So all right, there it is. Once you get it where you want it, just make sure that your label is even. So I'm going to grab this board so I can use the ruler. So I can use these marks. Okay, so I said about 2 1/4 inch up, so right there. I'm going to make sure that my line is straight. Everything is straight. Now hear that thunder? It's crazy. All right, and then I am going to place this in the center. Now make sure that you're super careful when you do this part because you don't want to go all the way through your lining. I do want to go through my stabilizer though. So I'm just going to hold in my hand my top panel and my stabilizer. Do not get your lining. If you want to stick something below your hand to catch it just in case it slips, do that. So before you did that, you should have made sure that your stabilizer was shoved all the way down. All right, so now I'm going to go over to my machine and baste the top. All right, now grab your main panel where it's long way vertical. Baby, mommy's recording, okay? And draw a line where I told you to in the instructions. And make that line about 4 inches and centered. And then place a piece of double-sided tape right above it. Take your flap, and we want it to be lining side facing up and the point going up, and find the center. All right, and line those up. I went ahead and put a piece of double-sided tape So line your centers up and place it right on that line that you just drew.
And let's head over to the machine and sew that down at about 2/8 of an inch seam allowance.
Now we're gonna just bend this over. Just try to get it as flat as you can. Don't pull it or stretch it or anything though. If you want to roll it, you can.
Guys, I know my camera gets shaky sometimes. It's attached to my table. I promise I'm working on things. I'm gonna get things better, but right now this is just what I'm working with, okay? It's gonna shake a little bit. Oh, I'm gonna give myself a plug. If you look in my description box, there is a spot if you would like to donate $2 or more. It's a fund that I started to get myself a camera and some stands and just equipment to make my station as make it the best it can be. Okay, honey, let's get back to this.
Okay,
flap.
and now we're gonna go and top stitch this.
Let's top stitch it at 1/2 inch seam allowance.
This is where we're at. We're going to grab our lining piece.
Guys, ignore that the lining piece is one big piece right now. It wasn't until I got towards the end that I realized, right, you could have just done 2 pieces of lining. It would have been easier. So ignore that. You should have 2 pieces of lining fabric.
Scoot that down and grab your zipper. All right, let's get our zipper going. Take your zipper tape, or if you're not using zipper tape, if you're using an over piece of zipper, whatever you're using, just get it. I'm gonna go ahead and get my pull put on. Okay, once you have your pull put on, you're going to take your zipper, you're gonna take the end of the zipper tape that direction that closes. So it opens to the right and closes to the left. Take the piece on the left and break it apart. And then you
measure down 1 inch on both sides.
grab a needle and thread, or you can do it on your machine. I just do it by hand. And you're gonna pinch right where that mark is. So now the zipper is bending down. And then you're gonna just take that piece and bring it up towards the top. So you're kind of just making a little square. I'm gonna put a few stitches in there to hold it. Ooh, it's raining hard. For our zipper tab, go ahead and take the piece that we cut. Take it where the long piece is up and down and bend it in half and mark that center point. Then take the sticky part off and fold it in to touch that line on both sides. All right, grab your zipper and cut it down to the length that it's supposed to be. And now grab your zipper tab and take it where the 2 pieces are folded in towards each other and bend that over. And now we're going to bend that over the end of the zipper, just like that. If you have a domestic, I recommend that that piece be cotton because it's really thick right now with the vinyl being bent 4 ways. So either use cotton or just leave your zipper tab exposed so you don't have to bend it 4 times. You can just bend it in half. If you do that, I don't want to do that. I just don't think it looks as professional. I would have to take the time to do edge coat, and I just don't have the time for that today. So just be aware of what your machine can handle when you're doing the zipper tab. Okay, and I'm going to go to the machine, and I'm just going to sew right across the top of that at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. All right, so the zipper is opening to the right, closing to the left. We're going to take it and make it right side down, and then center it and pin it. Now you can head over to the machine and baste that down if you would like at about 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. I'm not going to because I'm lazy. I'm gonna grab, now once you got that basted down or just whatever, you're gonna grab your lining piece and you are going to take the end that does not have the card slots attached. So that's gonna be down here. You're gonna take it and you're gonna place that right side down, right on top of that zipper. Sandwich it in between there and then reclamp it with the lining attached. Now I am going to go and sew this at 1/4 inch seam allowance. All right, so now we're going to just press that open where wrong sides are touching and finger press it. If you're using cotton, you can just go ahead and iron it.
Well,
You're gonna have to use your muscles because we have got these extra seams going, so it's gonna be a little bit harder, you know. But it's okay, we can do it. We did add that seam earlier, remember, before we cut it to keep it from unraveling. So just make sure when you do this that you have made your zipper go down far enough so that there's none of that basting showing, okay? All right, and now we're gonna head over to the machine and we're going to top stitch on our panel at 1/8 of an inch. And guys, if you are on a domestic machine, I do recommend at this point, if you haven't already, you need to go ahead and put your walking foot on. If you felt intimidated and have never used it before, I get it. I used to be like that, but it will change the game. Get your walking foot or your Teflon foot or whatever it is that you have out so that you can get these nice top stitching seams, okay? They typically come with your machine, but if it didn't, you can purchase it anywhere online for 15, 20 bucks. Okay, so this is what we have now. This next step is a little bit tricky, but you can do it. Gently fold your flap out of the way. Our zipper. So our main panel is right side facing up. We're going to grab our zipper, fold it over so that the zipper is right side facing down. And we're going to line up the sides of this main panel so that they're even. Okay? And then we're also going to line up the top of the zipper with the panel. And then we're going to get it clamped. When you get towards the end, you can unzip this a little bit. Baby, go do your breathing treatment.
no.
Excuse me? Don't tell me no, sweetie.
I didn't tell you no.
Oh, okay.
I said, oh.
Yeah, you gotta go do your breathing treatment, sweetie. I recommend you basting it just because there's so much going on. Next, grab your other lining piece, place it right side down, stitch. Now, turn it right side out, and we're gonna do our top stitch. Zipper, unzip all of the way, and I'm going to start on the end that does not have the zipper tab. Okay, because if you do it the other way, you might get stuck. So we're gonna start on this side. Like I said, things get a little weird while you're trying to maneuver everything to get your stitch, but my best advice is just to focus right where you're sewing. Try not to worry about what's bunching up at the end or whatever. Just focus right on the piece that you're sewing at the moment, and it should work out. It will work out. Okay, so here we are. This is what we're working with. What we're gonna do now is we are going to flip it back to where it's wrong side out. Inside out, whatever you want to call it. Do me a favor and just ignore what you're looking at. You should have 2 pieces of lining fabric. It shouldn't be 1 piece, so ignore that. And you're going to separate the main panel, the outside, from the lining. Let's leave the zipper open halfway. Match up your sides. the end of your vinyl to the end of your vinyl. Clamp it, and then continue to clamp it all the way down. All right, guys. So I don't know if you know this, but most of the stuff I do, I make it up as I go. And I just realized that this could have been cut right here. This could have been 2 pieces instead of having it all attached. Oh well. So I am going to go ahead and just cut this right there to make things a little bit easier. And let's pin the sides of our lining. We're going to be turning the bag out right here, so we're going to leave it open about, I don't know, about, what is that, about 5-6 inches? Start here at 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, and then when we get to our lining, gradually increase from 1/4 of an inch to 3/8 of an inch, okay? And then when you curve to the bottom, go ahead and do it at 3/8 of an inch as well. All right, so guys, I will note that I did go and put a second seam on the part where the vinyl is, just to make sure that, you know, it's not pulling too much. I'm gonna trim it down to 1/8 of an inch. It almost already is. Also, when I got to the part where the vinyl ends before the lining starts, I did go back and forth over that area a few times just because there's so much material right there. I'm not gonna trim down where it's open. And let's turn her out. I'm gonna go ahead and unzip it all the way. Just roll those seams as best as you can. Put your finger in and just push that part out carefully. Just kind of want to pop that out. Use your thumb. Be careful, you don't want to rip any seams. There we go. Finger press that.
Bag is almost ready.
Almost.
Your bag is almost done.
Almost, sweetie.
You just have to make the top.
Oh, no, the top is done. I just have to, I think I just have to close it up now.
It's going to be done.
Mm-hmm. All right.
You going to make some more?
No, not tonight.
You going to go downstairs?
Do this at your own risk. I am going to lightly hammer this seam right here where my... Baby, I need you to not talk while I'm recording, okay? I'm going to lightly hammer where the zipper comes together. Please be careful.
You can also do the sensible thing and just go and buy a mallet that's made for this. It's about $5-10. You know me though, I gotta get it together.
Push that up as best you can. Okay. Ooh, I like it, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. This is the first time I made it like this for this video. I've never done it this way before. And I like it. Okay, let's grab our stabilizers.
Get off.
Grab your stabilizer
Look.
and take a piece and lay it against the back side of your bag. Now, if your seam allowances were a little off, or whatever, for whatever reason, the stabilizer is a little bit bigger than what you need it to be, just go and trim it. No big deal. All right, and then take the other piece and lay it against the other side. So now let's take our top piece and bend it over. Oh, that's nice. I love it. Okay, so bend it where you want your crease to be. You know, you may want it a little higher up, I like the look of it being pretty low, so I am going to fold it over as close as I can, leaving a little bit of wiggle room, you know, in case your clutch is stuffed with stuff. You don't want it pulled too tight. I'm gonna bend mine over to about right there. Make sure that everything is lined up even. My tips look like they're the same space away. I'm gonna push it as flat as I can. And then I'm going to take that snap and I'm gonna push down as hard as I can to leave an indentation. Once I have that indentation there, I'm going to hurry up and place my washer there and make a mark. Now, reach through and your stabilizer should be pushed against this. So we're gonna be ripping through the panel and the stabilizer. Again, if you need to put a ruler or something underneath your hand just to make sure you don't go through to the bottom, do that. Because we're only going through this front panel. Baby girl, baby, mommy's recording, okay? You can't talk. So you're gonna go through, we're going through the panel and through the stabilizer.
Okay, go ahead and get the bottom part of your snap closure installed.
For a second just to see how your snap feels. Go ahead and do that. Y'all.
What? Me?
I did 2 mill ends. Jeez Louise.
What's happened? What's happened, Mom?
I just did the wrong piece.
Oh, no. You did the wrong piece?
Obviously, that's not going to work. Ugh. All right, so I'm going to go back in there and take that off.
What's happening to your purse?
Nothing, sweetie pie. Mommy just made a mistake.
Made a mistake?
Yep. Perfect.
Perfect?
All right, so now I'm going to go and close this up.
Close it up?
Yep.
And it's going to be finished?
And it's going to be finished.
No!
All right,
I
so
want you to be
baby,
finished.
you have to stop talking while I record, okay? Okay, so just go ahead and pull that, and that will make it the bottom curve in a little bit. And then we're just gonna pin it, and we're done. All right, guys, and that's it. We're done. Let's tuck it in. We're done. Y'all, how cute is that? You know what I love? I love those little slots, man. I usually don't put anything inside of my clutches. I just don't feel like it's necessary, but that's kind of cool to have that there if you want to just reach in. I did not add D-rings for straps just because I don't always offer that on my clutch. Let's close it and see how it looks. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's pretty. I like that. Very cool. Okay, so when I drew this pattern up, I drew it so that it was compatible with this piece from Pellon bag.
This is the very first clutch that I drafted that I used that piece on.
So if you want to take your bag up a notch and make it a little bit fancier, you can add this piece, but I will warn you, if you are using vinyl, depending on the thickness of your vinyl, and especially with the fact that these seams, these added seams are there, I don't recommend adding this piece if you did your clutch today with these seams, because this piece isn't that thick, and so you might have trouble. See, even with vinyl sometimes, there we go, it's over it. I can get it over it, but it's just a tight fit. So with that seam added, I just don't know if that is gonna work. I mean, you can, there's always ways to manipulate it. You can get a hammer it down. Also, what I do if my vinyl is kind of thick is I will measure where this is going to be and stop about 1/4 inch shy. And then I will get on my machine and sew another seam, another top stitch between the top stitch that's there and the end, because that's going to flatten that material out a little bit more. So that will flatten that out for you if you're determined to use this. And then after you do that, you can hammer on it a little bit. Also, before, I don't recommend doing it, but again, if you have to do it, I have taken some pliers and put it in between here and lift it up just a tad bit. So if I'm having trouble getting it on the end, you know, I'll pick the area that I'm having trouble. See, this is good. This would work fine. This vinyl is cool. Not on the seam so much. See how it doesn't want to go over that seam. So I'm not going to bother with this today. But if you didn't do the seams, then you won't have a problem putting it on. If you use a vinyl that isn't too thick, and you kind of manipulate, just flatten out the tip as much as you can. But today I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to stress myself out over that. I think this is great just as is. I love a clutch to be super flat. Like this. I love how flat that looks for a clutch. So what I am going to do is put this under my mattress tonight. And tomorrow is going to be beautiful and flat and just very professional looking. All right, guys, that's it. I hope that you like this clutch as much as I do. Thank you so much for tuning into the video. Thank you for sewing with me. I appreciate it. And okay, so I did not add D-rings because I don't usually add straps to my clutches, but I offer it on my site. So because this one isn't sold yet, I'm just making it as a normal clutch. What I do though is I always keep some sort of D-ring connector hardware. So that way I'll put this on my site, you know, I don't know, $100. I'll probably do more than that. I'll probably put this on my site for about $140. And then I give the option, if you would like to add straps to it, you know, that would be an extra $20, $30. And then I would just get one of my strap connectors, get it added on, and make a adjustable strap to go with it. So if you want to make this have a strap, then go ahead and you can do either a D-ring on the side. There's plenty of tutorials on YouTube. Just find one to see how to add a strap connector, a D-ring, or just get some hardware. This makes your life easier. All right, so guys, thank you so much for sewing with me. I want to apologize for taking so long to get this video out. I've had people emailing me, messaging me. I thought you said you were going to do a clutch tutorial, blah, blah, blah. And I swear I have been trying to do it, guys. Like, if you look at I have so many patterns that I've sketched up and cut out because I sew as I go. That's just what I do. And it's hard for me to try to put it down into making it a real pattern to share with someone. So I've been trying to just perfect it. And then what I came up with was totally like, you can only do it on an industrial machine. There's no way a domestic could handle the way that I did it originally. And I was like, I don't want to put out a pattern that, you know, because a lot of people have domestics. I had a domestic until, I don't know, 6 months ago. So I was like, I don't want to put out this pattern and then half the people who are waiting for it can't even use it. So I had to I had already recorded a tutorial and everything. I had to just scratch it. I wish I had to delete the tutorial because I don't have a lot of space on my phone. So I'll just have to record another tutorial that way for the people who do have industrial machines, so you can see how I made that clutch. It's super easy. But yeah, so I've been working on it. I swear I have. I'm not just telling you guys I'm gonna do it and not doing it. I've really been trying to get it done. So I finally had time to get it done today, and now I have to go and edit this video. So thank you for watching. If you try it, if you get this pattern, it's on my website. It's one of my first patterns that I've made. I'm super proud of it. I know it's super simple, but I love it. I'm proud of me. I've come a long way. But yeah, it's available on my website. I'll have a link below in the description box. Yeah, if you make it, please tag me because I love to see it. I love to see it. Tag me on Instagram. I'm at LoveLolaLooks. On Facebook, I'm Love Lola. This is Luv. It's just Love Lola. On YouTube, you can find me under Love Lola. Just type in Love Lola tutorials and I should come up. But yeah, tag me on Facebook. I want to see it. Thank you so much for checking out my video. I've got stuff all over the floor. This place is a mess. It's crazy. My daughter's been going through my stuff as I made the video. But anyway, yeah. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye!